Joining us this morning, our friends from Titusville City Hall. We have the city manager, Mr. Neil Fratus, and joining us this morning, a special guest. JD, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, buddy.
I'm the junior city councilman this year. It's, I don't know, it's a program where I get to observe the meetings. Nice to see what everyone does in City Hall and with the city council.
Right. So that's awesome. We're going to get into that here in just a moment. Neil, first, before we talk to JD and about that program, we are now into February.
Yes, we are. Groundhog's Day last week, right? Said early spring.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe it's here already.
People took advantage of it yesterday.
That's what I hear. People were golfing, you said, and I'm surprised.
Taking Christmas lights down. I mean, there's a lot you could do around the house. Going for walks.
A lot of people out yesterday riding bikes. In fact, my kids were out yesterday riding bikes on the sidewalk, and it's just great to see the sun.
I saw a program over the weekend. They were talking about the solar eclipse, right?
Yes.
And everybody's been talking about that. It's coming up in April. But I think Erie was estimated to maybe inject 200,000+ people that weekend, depending on the weather. To the area. Now, that's just like Erie, but we're being told even, in these parts where we'll be able to witness this thing, we could see an influx of people that weekend.
Yes, I know. We've talked about it for the past 2 months, actually, knowing it's coming, obviously, in April, and I know there's some events going on here locally, and I'm not sure if the school district's going to be doing something. It's something we have a roundtable meeting this week. I'm sure it'll be a discussion, and I know I've had some conversations with Oil Region Alliance. They had actually reached out to me, one of their representatives, asking, was the city doing anything? They were going to put a flyer together just to get some information out to the people, and would we share that information? And of course, we certainly will. And again, as it gets closer, again, the city's very open to obviously bringing people here. And is it something that folks can gather? Maybe even at the Edmire complex, what have you, with students. Again, we'll work with the school district on that if there's anything planned. If not, that's okay too. But again, it's a big deal, and hopefully, we'll do something here, of course, as well in the city.
Yeah, and having it on a Monday, it's kind of nice because you're not going to get people that just come in Monday morning. I mean, you might have some of that, but you might get people say, hey, we're going to have a long weekend. They're going to come in, Friday, Saturday, and enjoy the community for a few days. So there's an opportunity there to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I think, didn't he say it was around 3 p.m., somewhere in that late afternoon is when the eclipse was going to happen. And so, again, we're city's very open to work with any entities, any groups that want to come in and put something on. And again, hard to believe that'll be here in April.
Yep.
So,
well, we'll get into some other things, but first, give us a quick history of the junior council program and when did it start? Whose idea? How, did it take long for everybody to kind of jump on board, or was it a pretty quick discussion?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, Councilwoman Jones brought up the suggestion of a junior council program. There's some other locations throughout the state and different areas that have junior council, and we thought what a wonderful idea to get our younger folks involved in city government, obviously bring them in to be able to see what city government does, what the different departments do, and obviously sit down with council. Obviously those positions are elected, they vote, the 5 council members here in the city vote each meeting, and what an opportunity to bring the junior council in to be able to partake in the conversations at council meetings, to talk about the different subjects, some of the challenges that we face. Obviously, they don't get an opportunity to vote, but again, they get to say their piece and bring suggestions to the city, from a youth standpoint, and that's very important. We always talk every year about how do we keep our youth here. It seems like the kids graduate and they move on to bigger and better things, which obviously is understandable, but how can we keep them here? And getting them involved in the government to see how things operate and the challenges, as I said, that we face with business, with running the city, and obviously creating revenue for the city as well to keep people here. So again, it's been a wonderful program. Gavin Griffin, who's now a councilman, is officially a council person after going through that program. He brought a lot of wonderful ideas. One in particular is the sidewalk program. The sidewalk inventory that we did a few years back was very beneficial for the city, as we've been able to apply for grant funding for the sidewalk program this year. And again, we're waiting to hear back from the state. We're very hopeful, but that inventory that Gavin created and brought to the city was very influential in us being able to apply for that program. So I look forward to working with JD, and we have another Gavin that's on council as well, who's not here this morning, but again, having both of them on board to be able to provide input. And from a youth standpoint, it's just it's a wonderful program that we have.
That's a great way to get feedback from students at the school and kind of help with that relationship as well. I mean, not that it's a great relationship that you have with the school district, but again, this is just one of those things that just really adds to that.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear. I know it's new for JD, and I'm anxious to hear some of his ideas and some of his concerns as well, and see what they bring to the table.
Well, JD, introduce yourself.
Yeah, JD, the junior city councilman. But it's been nice to kind of see everything that goes on. We've had tours of different, city departments, things like that. We have to see how our water's treated, and then we have more coming up with the other junior councilmen of the airport and even things beyond the city. There's hope to be a meeting with Meadville. Had started a junior city council program to kind of meet them, see what was up there, meet the county commissioners. It's also just nice to kind of talk to the city manager, city councilman, the mayor, things like that. So if I have any questions to help kind of learn, get me through it, I can just talk directly to them. Sometimes it can be harder to find resources, look it up, everything. But I can just go directly to them. It's a lot easier that way if I'm just like, hey, how does this thing work? And then if I'm lucky, they might even go take me to where it happens and show me how it's done.
Okay. Now, so the introduction part, I
sorry.
want you to, no. This is good. Because this is all fantastic stuff. But are you a senior?
Yeah.
Yes, kind of give us that background.
Yeah.
Talk about your family and growing up here in the community.
Yeah, my mom was from Pittsburgh. We came here to teach, and that's where I've lived my whole life. I've had people I know around the town. Sorry, just like it's the small town thing of knowing a lot of my neighbors and things like that. Small class, everything. I've been involved with soccer for most of my life up until this year. I was not really able to do it with new classes I was taking, so I still did stats to help out, but I didn't play this year. But I've played up until now. I did golf this year, started that, and tennis. I started a couple years ago, so I've done different sports, and that's.
And you're going to graduate this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. What's the future hold for JD?
I was looking at Edinburgh for, I guess partially because of this, probably political science, but it's still, see what I'd like to do, I guess. But that was the idea right now, was Edinburgh for most likely that.
Do you have like something in your mind where 20 years from now you're going to be doing this or what?
Not exactly, no,
Okay.
but the talking to people who hold these government positions and that kind of thing, that seemed all interesting. So
So politics is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you had the opportunity to maybe get involved in this program, was it something that you just said, okay, I got to do that, or did you put some thought into it?
Gavin from before had talked to me, and Miss Jones taught me last year. They all, kind of said it was a thing that I should do. And then kind of looking into it, it kind of seemed interesting, but it was too hard to say, what was and wasn't looking great from before doing it. But that's why this is nice. I do get to see everything, and it has become more interesting since doing this. So,
what's the biggest thing you've learned so far? When did you start?
I started in December.
In December, okay. So, any big takeaways? Anything that you've learned, or has it just all been kind of a learning process for you?
It's still a very big learning process, even a couple months in. But it's nice to kind of see how different like ordinances and things get introduced and passed. It takes more than just one meeting, things like that. So
now, do you relay anything back to the school? After a meeting, or are there times where you can get together with your fellow classmates and say, hey, this is what is being discussed, this is why we should be paying attention?
They had done student input meetings in the past. We haven't started that. We probably were kind of looking at it. We should soon, but we have not started that yet. But I mean, I've talked to some kids just a little bit here and there about different things, but not as much as probably should or would be in the future.
Yeah. Neil, for you, I think Meadville just implemented the program, and I know they were looking here and asking you guys questions about it. Does that kind of make you smile that you have a successful program like this and other people are noticing?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. I encourage it to any other municipality to start a program like that. Again, as I said, just having the youth involved in within the city government, and for them to understand what we do and how things are done, and it's very important. And JD came in at an interesting time when we had 4 new council members coming in January, and so he got to see kind of the transition of things and obviously fresh personalities, thoughts and concerns on different things. And so, we have a lot of exciting projects this year that we're working on down at the Ed Meyer Complex. Some challenges that we face this year with revenue. We have consultants coming in, providing the city with a long-term financial forecast for the city, which will be interesting to hear. And again, it's just exciting to have, Gavin and JD here to be able to take part in all that. Again, and as you said, it's just great to see these other municipalities like Meadville starting this program, and I look forward to see how theirs turn out as well.
Yeah, JD, for you, did you come in with ideas, or was it, hey, I'm just want to take part and kind of learn as I go, and then as questions come up, I can ask those questions?
Yeah, that was more the just kind of seeing, taking part, that kind of thing. I didn't have anything too specific. It's kind of hard to even know what you can do, I guess, because things might be handled by county or state. So it's important to know what is done by the city, so then you can kind of know what to change from there. So it was kind of just to kind of come along, see what we do. So if I wanted to change, that's the changes that we could do. It's nice to see how it's done.
Yeah, it is fascinating, and well, I don't, people. I mean, politics is everywhere,
Sure.
But just to kind of get down to the basics and start learning that process and discovering, there's points on all sides, and trying to get everything on the table and figure things out. And probably the biggest thing, Neil, right, is working with other people and trying to get those ideas maybe accepted. Challenging and fun and stressful and all the stuff all rolled into one.
Yeah, and whether you're a junior councilman or a regular councilman, I think until you actually start, you get into that position and you start attending the first couple meetings and sitting on different discussions, it's an eye opener to see. It's a little bit different, I always say on the outside when you're just a resident and why aren't you doing this? And obviously there's a reason why, and there's a process that we have to go through. So. I think JD's going to learn a lot, and again, I think that one of the most important things was him and Gavin being able to see our city departments and how they operate it. Wastewater plant was probably one of the more interesting, probably for you, I'm sure.
So you had that opportunity to visit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was important. We did that in the beginning of the year. We're going to probably do another tour in the spring. JD didn't get a chance to see all the departments, like the airport and things like that, but again, I think it's important so they have, can see how things are operating and talk to those supervisors and those department heads and kind of realize, hey, this is what we do down here.
I gotta give you kudos, because I think it'd be easy to say, well, they're junior, council folks, so if they don't need a tour or see everything, but you're including them with everything that you're introducing the other councilmen to and women.
Yes, absolutely. And we've had groups reach out and say, hey, do you provide tours? And I am very open to provide anybody. If somebody gives me a couple day notice, we'll take folks around and show them how things operate. And again, I think that's very important so they can understand, the things that and the decisions that we have to make each day.
Yeah. You're watching the Morning Drill on Stream Television and on Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel. We have our friends from City Hall with us here this morning. City Manager Neil Fratus, and we have a junior Councilman JD Colie with us. Good to see you, JD. I'm stressing him out a little bit. He's a little nervous this morning.
He's nervous a little bit.
So JD, I want to ask you. So you are involved in this program. As you kind of maneuver, from this world to school and finishing up your last few months here before graduating. How important is it to bring that perspective of your fellow students to the discussions taking place at the city level?
Well, it's kind of hard to say, but it seems to be, these are the people that are now coming in to vote and these kinds of things. So it's a lot of potential voters. So things like that could be very influential for the councilman, but they don't always say what they want. So just having two people that can kind of go and have easier discussions, because people don't always know when the meetings are or can't always get there, might be busy, things like that. So just being able to go talk to people, see what they want, having me and the other junior councilman, Gavin, kind of come and say that directly during the meetings, or just when we see the councilman and Neil is nice to present those different things.
I would imagine, and it's not just students, right? Neil, there's adults who maybe they don't pay attention or don't go in and vote. And some of them like to voice their opinions, which is, they have every right to do that. But yeah, it's got to be fascinating for you, JD, just to get, to have those conversations, because I'm sure you've looked at students like, hey, you should be paying attention to this.
I try, yeah, but there's normally not that much interest, 'cause especially when they try and get involved, it's normally you hear about presidents and kind of national things, so just hearing about local issues isn't too big of a priority for them. And also just, there isn't always things to voice opinions about. A lot of the times, there's only so much money in the city budget, and a lot of those things go to things that we can't really choose to get rid of, like water or emergency services, police, things like that. So you're only left with so much to kind of direct anyways, and a lot of it is just kind of, I don't know, mundane, everyday things.
Neil, we've had these discussions. People say, I want change. I'm going to vote, or I'm going to run for a position, and we're going to be able to do this, this, and this. And then they get there, and it's like, oh, I can't really do that because federally we're told to do this, or the state's telling us to do this, or it's already been approved, and budgeted that we have to do this. I mean, there's a lot of elements to it. So it's good to get people in and around what you do, so they know what's going on. And you've been since you've started, inviting people to come to every single meeting.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, it's really an eye-opener when you do get involved and you see and go, oh, I didn't realize that was the process, or oh, I didn't realize there's this red tape, and we can only do this. And again, we do our best to encourage folks to come out, whether it's to a council meeting. We have our social media page, our city website as well. We do our best to update things like that, just to provide people with information on what's going on in the city, decisions that have to be made. We have 2 meetings a month where we invite folks to come in. And again, we don't invite them to come in to just say, hey, you're doing a great job. It can be, come in and tell us to do a better job. And we're very open to that. And again, the challenge is getting those folks to come in. And, we've talked before, we have quite a few boards and commissions and authorities. And it's a challenge to get volunteers to participate in, those different boards. And as we've seen in the past. And again, we're going to continue to encourage folks to come out and partake in city government and voice their opinion and their thoughts.
Meeting dates and times this month.
Yes, first and third Wednesday. We have a meeting this week. This Wednesday, 6 p.m., Town Square, 2nd floor, and then we'll have another meeting, obviously, the third Wednesday this month, at 21st maybe. Again, encouraging everyone to come out. If you have questions, concerns, if you can't make it to the meeting, you can certainly call me at City Hall. I'll share the information with Councilman. I'll share it with myself, of course, as well. So, again, first and third Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m.
JD, what do you, I'm sure just being new to the process, you haven't been stopped at the grocery store yet. But I'm sure people have been very supportive of you doing this and the city having a program like this.
Yeah, there's no like paparazzi yet, so it's
that'll come, right?
Yeah,
Neil?
I'm still waiting for that.
Yeah.
But no, it's normally just little things or saying that it's great to have younger people involved. There's not too much to say, I guess.
Now, in your mind, you're not allowed to vote, but you can be part of the discussion. In your mind, do you think, boy, this is how I would vote if I had that chance?
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. There's not too much to say, because normally if there is a disagreement possible, then someone will say it. But like I said, a lot of the things, it's just kind of everyone says yes, they're routine. But normally I can at least provide input, kind of say certain sides of things, but there's not always things to say, I guess.
Yeah, but it's probably a good exercise for you just mentally to say, boy, if I had the ability to vote here, I think I'd vote this way. You look at Gavin Griffin, who went from the junior program to running and getting a seat on council. Now he's able to make those decisions. But I'm sure mentally, Neil, through the process as a junior councilman, he was probably thinking, okay, if I would vote this way if I had that opportunity.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And and I'm in a unique position too. I can partake in some discussion, but I don't get to vote either. So essentially I feel kind of like a junior council person as well, because I can't vote right along with you, JD. But again, there's many times where I'll sit there and go, oh, I think we should do this or do that. And again, my job is to provide them the facts and what's I feel is best for the city. But ultimately, in the end, they vote, and the majority gets the win. So
that has to be fascinating for you, though, Neil, because you're saying, okay, here's the issue or the situation. Here's one side of it. Here's the other side. And sometimes there's multiple sides to it, right? So your job is to present everything you can to them.
Yes.
And the city council will make decisions, but probably will ask you questions to help them with their decisions.
Yeah, and there's been many times I'm going on my 5th year here. There's been times where I've presented things and felt one way and councils went the other way. But in the end, we all support one another, and we're here to move the city forward in a positive direction. And again, I'm just in that unique position where in the end, I don't get a vote, but I can kind of lead up to that point to where council makes that decision. So it's definitely a unique position.
JD, do you ever stick around after a meeting or before a meeting? Do you ever just talk to the other council folks and just say, hey, that was a good idea or good thought, or I like, maybe the counter argument to, whatever was brought up?
Yeah, there's not really strict end times, so people normally can clear up a little bit more time than the meeting allots. So, they're not normally rushing out, so it does allow time for me to just kind of go up to other people and, talk about what went on during the meeting. But there's also new council coming in, and so they're kind of just figuring out things too. There's not always too much to say. They're just kind of trying to figure out how things go, how it operates. So this is only I think their 3rd meeting, coming up. So them two are just kind of along to see what's going on right now, but then eventually kind of become more opinionated, I guess, as they see how things go on. There's already been some change. As you bring in new people, they're always going to say even just small things happened before, they've changed this and that. But that can normally be brought up during the meeting, so after, there's not too much always to say, but there is always that time where I can at least talk to them, even if it's unrelated to the meeting, just about, how things are going on.
It's a great program. Mm-hmm. It's a great program. JD, thanks for stepping up and doing that. You and Mr. Chappell, or junior councilman, for this period of time, and you'll do that through the summer?
That's the plan for me.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he wants to keep doing it or not, but that would be nice.
Until you head off to school? Mm-hmm. All right. Please come back. Neil, good to see you as always.
Luke, great to see you. Have a good week.